We are
Alright.
rolling.
All right. Good morning. Welcome to the January 21st Buildings and Facilities meeting. When I call your names, please unmute and let me know that you can be heard. Tammy,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
and Sharon, I heard you.
Here.
Next on the agenda, minutes from last month. Anyone want to move to approve and second?
Motion to accept?
They're from November, though.
Yeah,
not last month.
sorry, I'm sorry. November. We haven't met in a couple of months. Yes. Tammy, you want a
Okay,
second?
second.
Thank you. Thanks for doing the minutes, Tammy.
Hmm.
And I love that yours are to the point.
Yes. No
All right.
extra verbiage.
It's always daunting when you look at minutes that are really like 1 month when I was doing JCPC minutes, I would I would take down notes and then they would be really lengthy because I saw everyone else's minutes. And one day John saw me doing the minutes and he was like, no, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Anyways, should we go around and approve? Tammy,
Yes.
George?
Yes.
And I say yes. Next on the agenda is public comment. I believe there's one person, one attendee. If you would like to make a comment, please enter the room and unmute yourself. No, okay, no public comment. Okay, monthly buildings and grounds report. George?
Yeah, I don't really have anything big to report, I guess. I mean, I guess I'll say it was 12 below in town today and the building is nice and warm. Everything is working. So that's a plus. We did have a state elevator reinspection scheduled for last Friday, but the state canceled it without telling anybody. So it has been rescheduled for the end of the month. And that's just to get us all up to date after doing that repair that put us in compliance with the new state guidelines. So that'll be happening at the end of the month.
George, is
But
that the elevator in the old part of the building?
It's both of them actually.
Oh, both. Oh,
Yeah, it was both of them actually. They had to both be in compliance with a new state regulation. All the other town buildings had to do the same thing. So, but yeah, their scheduler kind of messed things up a little bit. Both us and Amherst College had to get moved to the end of the month. So,
Okay, but it's working, so that's good. Have we seen more people coming in to make use of the heat at the library?
I I think so. I think
Yeah.
there's been uh there's been more people that have just been kind of coming in and hanging out and just making use of the warm spaces. I would say yes.
Good. Anything else? I know a few months ago we were talking about vaping and stuff. Is that still an issue?
yes. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Yes. I don't even know what else to say about it. Yeah.
Okay. But
A lot of
mainly,
people compare vaping and smoking of marijuana to alcohol, but the difference is you can't ignore
it's
me.
not as clear.
Carry on.
Yeah. Well, if it's happening in the schools, it's not that surprising in the library, right?
Yeah.
It's a much more stealthy thing.
Right.
know?
And more in the basement, right? I mean, I can't imagine
Yeah.
someone's doing it in the atrium or anything.
And if you smell it but not see it, then there's no for all we know, or for all we can prove, it was done outside and now they've come into the it's it's
Right.
just
Right.
so difficult to police.
Yeah.
The only other thing I had on my list was are the cars in the library's driveway were being broken into. The note that George sent was there's been a report that an individual has been checking car doors in the driveway. So George was great about making sure that all staff lock their doors. And we only found out about it because one person's car doors don't lock. So I don't know, George, if you want to say more about that.
Was
Yeah,
stuff
yeah, one of my staff had noted that there was an individual who was just kind of like, when they would walk down the driveway, they would check car doors randomly. The individual whose car was opened, some incidental items were taken, but there's no cameras there. There's really no proof of who the individual is. So there's really not much we can do at this point except for to be just be mindful and make sure that we keep our car doors locked. That's all. They did not like break the door or break a window or anything like that. They just took the opportunity of an unlocked door. And I'm gonna attempt to get a description of the individual. But again, it's nothing we witnessed actually happen. So it's kind of hard to follow up on that aside from just being vigilant.
is this something you would talk to the police department about, or?
Not without, not without some evidence. And again, the car wasn't broken into, it was an unlocked door.
Right.
So there's really not much the police would be able to do. I'm probably just going to email the police chief and just let him know that there's an individual in town that is just checking car doors randomly. There doesn't seem to be a particular time of day that they're doing that, but just something to put it on their radar.
Okay. Thank you. Anything going on at the branches in terms of buildings report? Okay. No.
Nothing that I can report on. I know that they're working on getting the Munson Library switched over to the same key card system that the North Amherst branch has, but I do not have an update as to when that's going to go into effect.
Okay.
And it sounds like they're switching over to beep boop beep boop. Number pad.
Keypad.
Thank you.
Keypad, yes. I
Boop,
do
beep,
not
boop.
see I do not see a keypad on the building, but the swipe
Oh.
card sensors are there.
Oh,
So
okay.
I mean, maybe that is just the front entrance. I honestly don't know because I'm
Okay.
not involved in that process.
Okay.
The Jones is just a key, right? Is there a key? Okay. Because I was wondering if I hadn't noticed a keypad all these years.
Many keys.
Yeah.
A lot of keys. Yeah.
Tammy, any questions? Comments? No. Okay. Thank you, George and Sharon. Okay. Backup building project planning. Are we doing anything now, or are we sitting tight for a while?
Yeah, I left it on the agenda as a just in case kind of thing if there was something y'all wanted to talk about, but I don't have anything to report.
Can I ask, I just have one question. If the project goes through, which fingers crossed, do we have any sort of information on interim building locations? Any
No,
meeting?
Bob has asked for updated collection figures, so I'll be working with him on that.
Okay.
I think Paul wants it. I think we have to get through, or at least have a firmer grasp on the end of the 106 process before we make any commitments for interim spaces.
Okay. But the space that we were looking at before is not available anymore?
I'm not
Or
sure.
we don't know that.
I'm not
Okay.
sure. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Tammy, any questions? mean-
No, I mean, I think it's really hard to consider a detailed backup plan at this point. So I think that,
Okay.
just putting it on hold is a good idea.
Okay. I agree. Okay. Topics not anticipated.
Can I just say one thing? I wanted to bring this up, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it's what's one of the things that goes through my head, and it has to do with the automated materials handling system. Because we cut that. So all along, I have said, staff have said, once we renovate, we're not going to need more staff, and in part, the way we're going to be able to control the uptick in usage is it's a better design of the building. There are more sight lines. The other thing we were counting on was the machine to do the back of house, to be able to use the technology to do the work that humans are doing. And we're not going to have that. So the problem is staffing, and all of this is going to fall to the staff. So, what I would say is now we're going to need more staff. We're going to need more humans. The fact is, ever since this Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners Public Library Construction Program has been in place, circulation doubles in the first 3 years. It's a fact. It's going to happen here in Amherst as well. And what I've always said is we're not going to need any more benefited staff. We're going to need more staff in order to do this work. Whereas before with RFID, you can take a stack of items and just put it on this kind of like a mouse pad looking thing. And those 5 or 6 items get checked in. Poof. And then the machine would have on top of it, sorted them. That's not going to happen now. So what's going to happen now is every item that gets returned has to be scanned individually and then placed on a book cart, which takes up a lot of space, and then, dealt with, wheeled or whatever. And, the computer tells us whether or not it's going to go to the shelves at the Jones or to one of the 2 branches or to a patron in Worcester, for example. It's a long, it's like you get up in the morning, you take a shower, you brush your teeth, you eat breakfast, that kind of a thing. It's monotonous, but it's got to be done. And the number of items is just going to skyrocket. Anyways, this is one big holy cow. And I know the town is not going to give us any more benefited positions. And by us cutting, a $400,000 item from the building project, it's going to hurt the staff. We're losing a security system. So within that $400,000 that was cut was also security gates. That is now gone. So we don't have a theft deterrent in place. We also, when we come up with a new theft deterrent, during the 2 years that we were going to be located somewhere else, that's when I have staff to tag all of the items we were going to convert to RFID. And, we have to stick little stickers on everything and update the computer. So that's time consuming. And that's what we were going to do during the 2 years. And now we won't be doing that. So, which means that once the library reopens and now life resumes to normal plus, staff are going to be busy. They're not going to have the time to go ahead and convert however many, 500,000 items or whatever.
Sharon,
But yep.
you can have security system without the RIFD, correct?
Right, but every item will have
I know.
to, you'll need tattle tape put into everything.
Right.
Our RFID is a better way of doing it. And we're kind of biting off our nose to spite our face. We may be saving $400,000 now, but it's going to cost us, the library and staff time, more than $400,000 if we do it after the fact. I guess I just wanted to put that out there. I don't know what it means and what can be done about it. It's in my head. It's in the head of the staff. Yeah. George.
George, and then
Um,
I have a few questions about what you said, Sharon. Go ahead, George.
Given that, at least now, because that could be a potential purchase somewhere down the line in the future, albeit an expensive one. But in the meantime, given that we are going to have such a big projected increase in checked out materials, is the renovated space going to be big enough for staff to manually process all of that? I guess what I'm saying, because right now, obviously we don't have that kind of a space, but given that we won't have the material handling system there, is that space that we have projected for it going to be enough room for staff to manually do all that work?
It'll have to be, instead of having the machine there, this sleek aerodynamic that just is
Right.
literally designed to fit the space. And instead it'll be a moving of furniture, making sure, the carts are placed in a certain way and the computers are in the right spot and all of that.
But I guess what I'm saying is, even though we aren't going to have the system, we're still going to need that space
Oh, yes.
in order to do all of that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, 3 questions. One is, and this might be stupid, but what is RFID?
Oh, thank you. Not stupid at all. No, so radio frequency identification right now, and I don't have a library book with me. Right now we have barcodes and we scan the barcodes. And
Right.
is that called optical character recognition, Steve? Wave your little virtual hand if the answer is yes. Yay, I'm right. So yeah, and that's why it's a one at a time thing. The RFID, it's radio waves, and so
Okay.
that's why you can take a stack of books and it gets checked in.
But you would
So
have
nothing
to,
has been done to do this RFID on the books yet. It was something
No,
you had. Okay, so that was Tammy, just let me I had a bunch of questions. Security gates. Where were these security gates going to be, and how do you deal with that situation now?
so we don't deal with it now. There used to be security gates, and then the problem was so in order for them to work effectively, you need the security gates at all of the entrances. And that was not what happened after the 1993 building project. So we stopped using them. We got rid of the gates. They were just in the way. They weren't being used. So as part of this $400,000 that was budgeted, there were security gates. So we would know if items were leaving the building that hadn't been checked out.
Okay, but right now they get they get like, are you talking about stuff that gets put in the slot or on the return table? So you are
Yes.
saying that right now someone, well, not the slot, because they can't go into the slot unless they break into it, right? The return box outside.
I'm
No,
not
so-
sure what your
Are
question
you
is.
talking about theft, Farah?
Yeah, I'm talking about
Okay.
theft. I mean, that's what the security gates are for, right? So people can't get to the books that have not been checked in.
Well, no. So what I'm
No.
saying is, so if you are in our basement now and you
Mhm.
take a book and you put it in your pocket and you leave the building, we have no idea that you have taken the book.
Okay.
When you use tattle tape, that's what I call it because I'm old, or RFID, you walk through the gates, then they
Okay,
they
it's
make
like
noise.
being
Just
in
like
a
if you
store.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you steal something at Target, exactly.
So are books getting stolen?
Oh yes.
Okay. All right,
And-
so
Books, DVDs, CDs, yeah.
there's no way to get around that. We don't have cameras.
We
Like,
don't have
have
good
them-
But
sightlines.
how would you know somebody had a book if they put it in a briefcase?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I often will bring a bag and I'll put the books in the bag and bring them up to the desk to check in. But if I forgot and walked out,
Yeah.
okay, I see what you're saying. But
Sharon,
Go ahead, Tammy, go ahead. I'll come back. I
Um,
have a few more questions.
I think it's whether we ought to install gates and start putting in whatever kind of tags, at least in new books as they come in. And I know it's, we went through this with the security system and had to go back and, mark all the other books. But I think even having gates might make somebody think twice. And if new books were marked, it would go off. The problem is whether there's staff right there or whether the gates lock. In our case, they didn't lock, but it was right by the circ desk, the exit. So if the bell, the alarm went off, people would be right there. And so I don't know if the entrances, you have one downstairs and one upstairs, but how close are they to people as far as if the alarm went off?
Yeah, so I have a couple of answers. So yes, you're right. So so what concerns me the most right now is the budget for all of it has been cut. So I agree with you absolutely. The ideal would be we still start converting to RFID. The problem is the budget is gone. I can't buy the gates because that's been slashed from the building project. And the same thing with the RFID supplies. That was within the building project budget. That's what I was hoping for. I don't have that funding anywhere else, which is why this is good that we're having this conversation now. As far as what happens when the lights flash, so librarians they're so good, the lights start to flash and they say to the person that's walking
Did
by,
you forget to check out something?
exactly. And so the honest person, which 99.9% of people are, like Farah said, it's a mistake. They put it in their bag, they thought they got it checked out and it didn't. And so once the staff member says, "Hey, can you come back? Let's just run that through again." If the person was intentionally stealing, I've said to the staff a million times, you let them go. Don't chase them. It's not our job to chase the bad guys. We could certainly, we could call the police if that's what we chose to do. But the benefit to RFID is then not only do we know something has been stolen, we know what has been stolen. With the old tattle tags, we just know something has been taken. So with the
Right.
RFID, it maintains an inventory for us as well.
I guess I would be interested at some point in knowing how much, aside from the 400,000 for the whole automated check-in system, if how much to purchase our IFD tags and how much the gates are separate from the actual automated system.
Yeah,
To
I could
see-
pull that budget
Yeah.
up.
I think that would be interesting, because even just installing the gates can be a deterrent to people.
Yep. Yeah.
So, okay, I would be interested in that at some point.
So is this also something to discuss at building committee?
Yes, but not now.
Okay.
And I would certainly defer to others, but I feel like I would love to get through the 106 stuff first, make MHC happy so that we know, because we don't have time to hold this up because I'm freaked out over, how busy the staff are going to be. It can be looked at after.
After we start the construction, we can
Yeah.
work on what'll happen when the building reopens.
Yeah.
Okay, and the situation with staff, so that would be something that it's not gonna happen right away, right?
Right.
The thing increasing.
Yeah, no.
So that could be something down the road that we discuss with the town?
Well, so again, it depends. So this is why I'm still hoping it can be, so right now we've got this 10% contingency, which is awesome. More than ideal. It's such a great position to be in as far as construction goes. I'm hoping there will be money left over. I'm hoping the project will begin and we'll get a certain amount into it, as the digging happens, as the peeling away of the 1993 edition happens. I'm hoping there won't be change orders and we won't be finding dead bodies or historic blah blah blahs. And and I'm hoping we can revisit the budget that way.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. I'm worried about the staff, and this is the one thing, the town manager's he's got his own staff and he's got his own, townwide building projects that he has to be concerned over. So this is really a Sharon Cherry and a library trustees thing.
What if we went to the Friends initially for something like paying college students, or not high school students, because
Yep.
so it would have to be start somewhere small, and then as demand increases, then you figure.
Well, like I said, I'm still hoping that it can happen, during the interim phase, in which case I'll have staff. I would just like some of the budget for the tags and the computers and the mouse pad things, the equipment
Right.
that goes along with the RFID.
Okay.
Can I ask, Steve, you still have your hand raised, and I want to know if are you sure? So now you just took down your hand because you did what I told you to do, but if there's something else, if there's something that I screwed up that you'd like to add to the conversation, I'd love to pull you in to talk if you'd like. Or not. Thank you, Steve. Okay. That's everything for me.
Okay. Thank you. That's a
Thank you.
lot.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
Thanks for sharing.
Okay, let's go back to the agenda. I think that was it. Anything else from George or Tammy? No? Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you guys. We'll see you next Monday
And on
Thank you.
Friday.
and on Friday.
So
Bye, you
there's no
guys.
way we
No.
can switch to Thursday now that Austin's not.
No,
it too
it's
late?
all,
Okay.
yeah, I'm sorry,
Okay.
but thank you.
All right. All right.
you
Meeting is
guys.
adjourned. See you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.